What's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of NHBWR podcast. I'm your host, Kyle, as always. I got my co-host, Brandon, here with me.
Heyo.
But we don't have one person.
No sell, Phil. No selling as usual.
He's selling right now. he's being a sell. But we do have someone, though. First time ever on the show, guys. Special guest. Our bud, Manny.
Hey, guys. Just have the pleasure of being a part of No Holds Barred Wrestling Radio for once. First time ever. And... of course, right after WWE Fastlane.
The greatest pay-per-view on the face of the planet. No, I'm just kidding. That's me being no self-fill right there. But, saying that, let's just jump into the pay-per-view. It was alright. Manny here gave it a 4 out of 10, which I kind of agree with him. It was a alright pay-per-view for a go-home pay-per-view for WrestleMania. Match of the night, we all chose Reigns versus Daniel Bryan.
I would disagree, but that's just me.
How would you disagree?
I don't think that match was bad. Definitely the greatest Roman Reigns performance ever.
As a singles competitor.
Absolutely. But that being said, you have a couple of matches that you might want to put ahead of it. You have a John Cena-Rusev thing kind of going on that I feel progresses storyline despite Cena losing, because I can definitely see Cena beating him at WrestleMania now. Yeah. And on top of that, it was a good performance from both guys.
And I think all of us can agree that we kind of saw Rusev winning somehow, even if it was by disqualification,
or
and then
retaining.
having John Cena winning the title at WrestleMania. I think everybody kind of sees that, at least in our group.
I definitely agree with that statement. Also, if you want to throw in the tag team championship match between the Usos and, of course, Swiss Beats, as we like to call them, just Cesaro and Tyson Kidd. That was probably, for me, technically the best match. And to see the tag team championship on a pedestal again is cool, because everyone expected the Usos.
I can agree with you there, too. Just in my opinion, Daniel Bryan and Roman Reigns was my match tonight, just because it over exceeded to what I thought was going to be a shitty-ass match into a no contest. But ends up being a really great finish. And then, I mean, they could have made the finish maybe a little bit better with maybe a spear way before, maybe like give Daniel Bryan his finisher, then Roman Reigns' finisher, and then do the whole non-count, like the whole double count-out thing, and then have Roman Reigns win with the finisher again. Don't just, like, hold him off till the end and have him do one finisher and then kind of predictable WWE like always.
They kind of made Bryan look a little bit weaker. He hit both his finishers, and both were countered. He didn't even really counter one of Roman Reigns' finishers. I guess if you count the Superman punch, but that's not even really a finisher. That's kind of a signature, wouldn't you think?
Yeah, absolutely. It's a signature. That's signature on the level as in his apron dropkick. You know what I mean? Yeah. Which I think is dope. Like, to be honest, I'm one of the few people that I know that actually likes Roman Reigns and his moveset. I like what he brings to the table. I just don't think he's championship level as far as the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. Like, don't get me wrong, I think he could have been a great Intercontinental guy from years to come. But they want to make him the next Rock.
I think they're pushing him way too fast.
Way too fast. And they think that he's the only guy who is believable to dethrone a Brock Lesnar who is on his way out. I think that Brock Lesnar on his way out is the worst thing to happen to WWE if you are going to go into this Brock Lesnar direction. Because now you need someone believable to beat him at WrestleMania. Undertaker's already lost to him. Daniel Bryan, they clearly don't want to push. And they don't have anyone else ready to take up that mantle. It has to be Roman Reigns for them. They feel like it's necessary for them just because Daniel Bryan is just not that believable yet. Or at least not against Brock Lesnar.
Yeah. And then with that, we can put aside and put the rest of the rumors that there was going to be a triple threat match at WrestleMania. Yeah. Because now it's pretty much official. They even had the promo for it at the end of the pay-per-view that it's going to be Roman Reigns against Brock Lesnar one-on-one for the title. And what to do with Daniel Bryan is up to WWE. I guess we're going to find out in the next 3 weeks.
I think everybody's dream match would be a Ziggler-Bryan match, but they don't really have a storyline to go with it yet. I mean, they have 5 weeks to build it up, so if they wanted to, they could start it tomorrow, but would it be a face versus face match kind of thing? Super babyface versus super babyface kind of thing?
Yeah, I see what you're saying there. But for me, like, I'd like to see somewhat of a framework of WrestleMania being prepared for out of WWE Fastlane. I feel like this pay-per-view needs to be the one that kind of sets up WrestleMania. It didn't do a lot of that, and that's why we didn't like the pay-per-view very much. You have John Cena and Rusev, who clearly have this pathway to WrestleMania, and will have a lot of USA Russia antics up until then, or just John Cena trying to make him look stupid on Ross. Yeah. That's going to be good TV, and it's good for the US title, especially with John Cena trying to revitalize it. And then you have Bray Wyatt clearly setting up this thing for The Undertaker.
That was sick.
Which was awesome, which we'll get to in a sec. And then we also have Triple H and Sting, who are clearly going to go at it. So you have 3 matches right there. That's good. You also have the World Heavyweight Championship match with Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns. So there's 4. Whatever generic Divas title match they have, they're going to make that too. So that's 5. Yeah. And then you're probably going to have a tag team like fatal 4-way match for the championship with Swiss Beats and Usos and whoever, if not just those 2 teams going at it. Yeah, someone like that. Who knows?
Some shitty tag team on the side.
But the thing is, but you leave Daniel Bryan out of this, and that's not very good justice to him. I could even see even Dolph Ziggler and Eric Rowan, or those 3 going up against J&J Security and Seth Rollins at WrestleMania. I have a thought. They're keeping Bryan out of the title picture because if they do it, they haven't said a word of it because it doesn't look like they're going to continue it. Remember last year, the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal that they said they were going to have every single year. They've haven't said a word of it. They've completely forgotten about it, and whether or not we're going to have it at WrestleMania again to fill the spots for all the other wrestlers. You can also make a top 5 list of things that WWE has put in place that they expected you to forget. For example, when Rusev first debuted, he debuted as a Bulgarian. His actual, native...
It's tattooed on his shoulder.
Exactly.
You can't miss it.
You're right. And then they expect us to forget that Big Show used to hate the Authority, now he's with them. They expect us to forget that...
Nikki and Brie Bella hate each other.
Exactly.
Yep.
So, you know what? They can make you forget about anything, and I say make you forget in quotation marks because... Clearly, they just want to go in this broken, non-canon, non-linear way of storytelling. It just doesn't make sense to me.
Going into what we just said about the Eric Rowan, Dolph Ziggler, all those guys, with the return of Randy Orton tonight, which was probably got the biggest pop of the night. I think we can all agree on that.
Yeah. Besides Daniel Bryan's yes, which is
I'd still say Daniel Bryan was the biggest thing, but the fact that it took Randy Orton to get a reaction out of course, a very dormant Memphis crowd like they always. Typically are.
Way to go, Memphis.
Well, Memphis, they're not about the sports entertainment. They're about pro wrestling. Yep. They'd rather see good matches. That's just their thing. It's just bad for WWE. But the thing is that they did appreciate Randy Orton coming out there because... Let's face it.
He's anti-authority now.
He's anti-authority, and I don't even think anyone thinks the Authority is good for business as they claim to be. It's very stale. I think it's as stale as, no offense to anyone who is a fan, but People Power or something like that.
Johnny Ace.
Yeah. It's
Mr. Excitement.
Yeah, it's...
Clown choose himself.
Holy crap, I'm never excited for Raw anymore.
But I could definitely see Randy Orton teaming with Dolph Ziggler, Eric Rowan, and Ryback to go against 4 or 5 members of the Authority kind of thing at WrestleMania, some kind of giant tag team match kind of thing.
Which will probably open the show.
Yeah. Okay, Seth Rollins is in a tag team match. Fine. Can someone remind me when again is the next Money in the Bank pay-per-view? When is that?
It's in 4 months.
It's in 4 months. Okay.
You got to cash that thing in, bro.
He has to cash that in. So he's not necessarily in the title picture right now. What about a singles match between Randy Orton and Seth Rollins? I think it's kind of fairly obvious. Not even just for the briefcase. Just a match to just have a good match because those guys can throw down.
Yeah, and they can both pull off some crazy shit as we've seen with Randy Orton's RKO out of nowheres and the Phoenix Splash by Seth Rollins. These guys have tremendous caliber between both of them. It's insane.
They're high caliber performers as far as throwing on decent matches. Unfortunately for Randy Orton, I feel like he's been gifted his biggest moments, and I often look over some of the matches that he has that are actually good. So I've always been a supporter of face Randy Orton because face Randy Orton doesn't need to kick you in the head Sebastian Janikowski style in
to
the
get
PG
over
era.
as a heel.
Shout outs to the man.
Yeah.
But the thing is that
Randy Orton as a heel is just dry as hell.
you're right, 100%. Because to me, he's like pretending to be a snake, and he wins like WWE World Heavyweight Championship, like unifies it. No one's reacting.
Terrible.
Just so
it's I'd rather watch paint dry or watch fucking Slam City. One or the other.
There we go. We got to get our Slam City in there.
It's got this has to be done.
So I don't know about you. Like, I gotta go see Randy Orton like this as long as he's in the WWE, because I don't see any chance of them not being PG in the future, at least in the near future.
No.
So
if
reality era.
It's the reality era.
PG, you call it the reality era, but you can't have someone.
The G era.
No,
was 2009 to 2012. We're maybe in the PG era now, but that was.
But has anyone got hit square with a steel chair in the reality era?
In the head?
Yeah, like we're talking swinging, Stone Cold Steve Austin style.
No, that hasn't happened.
Yeah, so despite it being reality, it's still PG.
Yeah, but it's like bits and pieces here and there that are send it over the top. Like there's more like less censoring and like more like un-PG related stuff that's getting put into the product now that's you wouldn't have seen back in 2009. AKA Total Divas, if you watch any of those episodes.
Yeah, a lot of it has got relatively real, which I think is kind of cool because I like seeing wrestling transcend just the show. That being said, there's a lack of rawness or raw feel to the product. I feel like it's still relatively kid-like.
Yeah.
You have these larger-in-life heroes going at it, or villains, who sometimes aren't very good. No. Big Show, Kane.
Oh my god. Yeah,
Roman Reigns.
End up being the top 4 in the Royal Rumble. Doesn't make any sense.
Who else? Sheamus. You have just vanilla characters going at it. Who just aren't very compelling storytelling-wise, whether it's a match or whether it's a storyline.
And these are always the cats that we get in the main events of Raw and SmackDown and the shows that are supposed to carry us to a pay-per-view.
The same main event we see every week on Raw and SmackDown.
And anyone who's relatively interesting, they are reluctant to push. But I feel like there's a reason for that. It's just because they want you to be vanilla, as in they want to dumb the audience down. You take a look at the commentators and you hear them. Besides moves like "what a right hand," or the finishers when they actually name them, or certain signatures like the winds of change, or what other signatures would you hear of? Like they don't even say Wizard of Oz, for example. And that's a signature from the Miz.
Yeah. The most they say is vintage whatever. That's what Cole will say.
Yeah, vintage.
They're promoting shit.
Vintage Randy Orton.
Something other than what's going on in the match.
Yeah.
Going off what you said about vanilla, can we get into how bad the Divas match was?
Speaking of vanilla, how often do Divas matches end in roll-ups? Or
especially
all the time
like this match had potential to be a good Divas title match. We got Paige in there. You got Nikki Bella. It could have been a good match, even if Nikki Bella would have retained.
That ending should have been saved for a live event. That's like a live event ending.
Like, if you're at a pay-per-view for a Divas title, you have to make it believable. You have to make it a good match. Make it something that people actually care about to watch.
I might get a lot of heat for this, like, depending on, like, how many people listen to this, or I would say this publicly.
We have our viewers.
Or listeners. But check this out. In my opinion, WWE is sexist.
I would somewhat agree with that.
As much as an offense as Divas talent might perceive that, if I were to say that to him, I think it's sexist. And the reason I say it's sexist is because at one point, the Divas were talked about. You used to look forward to Trish Stratus versus Victoria.
Versus Jazz versus Lita.
Yeah. Versus Lita, Molly Holly. You knew they were going to throw down. Yeah. You knew their finishers.
They would put on 15-minute matches.
15-minute matches. Yeah. Trish Stratus was walking out there getting powerbombed through a table and getting a chair shot to the head. I'm not saying that's what we need to see, but Trish Stratus had matches where her match was maybe second or third best on a pay-per-view.
Not even just Trish, even Jazz and Lita and all them.
Jazz, Lita, Victoria, numerous. And they were all dope.
They were all relevant. You actually cared to actually watch their matches because you know you were getting a good product out of it.
Exactly. So if you were to go back then and tell those ladies that you are being relegated to 2-minute matches, you get maybe a promo and maybe a backstage attack, and then you're going to make up for it by being on Total Divas, do you think they earned their stripes to do that?
No. It's terrible product.
They're basically like reality TV stars, not wrestlers anymore.
Absolutely. Now, there are some divas who got in as models who eventually wanted to do the type of stuff they're doing now. Yeah. So we're talking the Summer Rae types or the Eva Marie types. But if you're going to tell Nikki Bella and Brie Bella, Natalia, Paige, people who are clearly from wrestling,
AJ
Lee, that this is what you're going to be doing once you make it. Not that Trish Stratus stuff.
Off.
And they have to do it. What do they? What else can they do? It's their job. That's how they get paid. They can't just say no. Yeah. They can't just walk out. But it's going against everything that they believe in as wrestlers. And it's downgrading the Divas
I wonder
division.
what Paige is feeling. Because she came from NXT where she would fucking like kick ass like every fucking night on NXT. And then she comes to Raw and then gets put on Total Divas and now has to fall into this 2-minute
I just don't understand how the NXT divas get so much more time than the WWE divas.
Here's the thing. WWE has, or Vince McMahon has long said that he's in the business of sports entertainment, not pro wrestling. At one point, it used to be both. You used to have quality matches and quality storytelling because WWE has always been the best storytellers. Now, we're only getting mediocre storytelling because when have you looked at a match and be like, oh, I'm really excited for that, and it actually delivered? Maybe like some Bray Wyatt, Dean Ambrose matches have been the best as of late, but nothing has been like kind of classic as of late. But we see that on NXT. Now, WWE, in my opinion, want to appeal to both bases. People who like sports entertainment, people who like pro wrestling. Why can't you just do both at the same time is what I'm saying.
They say they want to attract to the casual fans. That's what they care most about, is the casual fan that will tune in once in a while.
And believe it or not, this is why I hate Vince Russo so much. Like, I like Vince Russo booking, but he's ingrained in the WWE creatives mentality that more viewers is going to be better than your base.
Yep.
And I think
complete bullshit.
Number one, as if you're a broadcaster, technically the WWE is broadcasters, you should always be thinking about how to get more viewers. But you also have to think about how to keep viewers. I've known people who've stopped watching wrestling because of the direction they've taken.
You can bring them in the door, but then keeping them in is a whole other thing than just bringing them in.
Absolutely.
How to keep them in is another thing. For a lot of people, not us per se, but a lot of other wrestling fans are probably going to get disinterested at some point, and then just say, "Well, I'm not watching this anymore. What's the point of me watching this?"
At least they have one thing going, and that's NXT. It's a little bit of a fallback, which WWE shouldn't have a small sideshow be their fallback for their main show and what they're mainly promoting.
Here's the thing with NXT though. It's as if they want these hardcore fans, maybe a certain extent, a little bit of us, to forget about how bad the main show is so we can focus on NXT, get our attention away from the main show. Because I feel like eventually the mentality would be, we only want the main show to be like The Big Bang Theory or like CSI. Just any casual person can watch it. And that's how I feel right now about it. So if you want to be hardcore about something, follow something relatively linear that makes sense, but with amazing matches,
they want you to watch NXT.
Clearly. That's like Triple H's baby. He feels that way too, I feel.
He said that in the podcast, that in NXT he loves it, and he feels like the hardcore wrestling fans, that's what they want.
And to bring that up too, I think he has a point. NXT it's growing so much, I think it's going to become its own brand.
It is its own brand.
Well, in the future, it's going to be anything. Meaning it's going to be bigger, as in like it's going to be like a Raw.
It's going to be the next SmackDown, essentially.
Yeah, it's basically going to be like the next show, and they're going to be competing with Raw. And I see in the future, it's going to be one of those like coming down to like Survivor Series is going to be like a top 5 NXT stars against the top 5 Raw / SmackDown stars.
That would be kind of cool. My only gripe with it is that as long as Raw is 3 hours, it's gonna get billed as the marquee show. And even if it isn't, everyone knows Monday Night Raw, regardless if they're a wrestling fan or not.
The longest reigning television show in history.
Yeah, longest reigning live
it's
episodic
their main
television.
flagship show. Yeah.
So if that is going to continue to be on Mondays in that 8 or 9 p.m. Eastern time slot, it's going to be the biggest show that they have. Not only that, they are going to make sure that the Big 4 pay-per-views will have stars from that brand as the top billed talent for the big pay-per-views.
Yep.
NXT will always be the SmackDown. That's the thing. That is the issue.
The last NXT pay-per-view was better than this pay-per-view that we just seen tonight.
Yeah.
100 times better. NXT Arrival
but the thing is,
unreal.
we as wrestling fans have to realize that WWE has neglected us on a main show level. Does that make sense? Because what they're trying to do is get viewers who are feeble-minded when it comes to the wrestling business to pay attention to their top product in Monday Night Raw. And there's nothing wrong with that. We just have to embrace NXT and realize that Raw is not going to be what we want it to be.
And it's not going to be an NXT because that's not what plays to the casual fans. Is what they want. That's what gets them the viewership on Mondays at 8 o'clock every week.
Mm-hmm. It's too complicated for them because they just want to see larger than life personalities, and that's cool.
And that's why they give us NXT on whatever Wednesdays, whatever it's on the WWE Network.
I'd rather have NXT than no NXT.
Yeah. Going into something else that was really good from that pay per view that we really like is the Bray Wyatt build up. This is going really well, I think.
That
I'm really liking.
Completely took me off guard because at first I thought it was just Bray Wyatt fucking around with us, and then you have the Druids come out, then Undertaker's music hits with the casket and the smoke, and you're like, holy shit, it's gonna be the Undertaker, he's gonna pop out of the casket. Hell no, it's fucking Bray Wyatt. Wow, what a way to cut a promo. That was unreal. Weird though, I thought he was gonna come out of the casket and go into the ring at least talk. It's kind of, I don't know, it kind of made sense that he did the whole promo within the casket, and it made sense like after that in the promo he just kind of lied back down and they shut the casket over top of him, but he's made it clear now that he's challenging the Undertaker at WrestleMania.
Any doubt that the Undertaker wasn't going to be at WrestleMania? He's basically shot down now. He's going to be there after this.
Yeah.
My only thing is that I feel like you should have retired the Undertaker, or Undertaker should have retired. You really have to put over Bray Wyatt, or does Bray Wyatt have to put you over for the last time? Because you as the Undertaker has become this running gag of a WrestleMania 4.5 star match, which is great. That's cool. But I think that do it against some other legend.
I think the Undertaker has 2 more matches in him, to be honest. I think it's going to be this one, and then he's going to finish it off, and then him and Singer are going to go into the Hall of Fame together next year at 32.
Okay, that's fair. That's cool. But where does this leave Bray Wyatt after this?
Either Bray Wyatt puts over the Undertaker, which everybody thinks he's going to do, and then what does that do for him? What does that make him?
What does that do for the Undertaker if he's not going to be making appearances on Raw? And where does that leave Bray Wyatt besides cutting these awesome?
I know
promos?
what you're saying, and I know this whole feud is going to build around Bray Wyatt being the new fear and Taker being the old fear in WWE, and them battling each other over who's the biggest fear. I know what you're saying, that Undertaker is going to be the one to lose again at WrestleMania, but I can't see it. I can't see him having that crushing loss last year at WrestleMania 30, which like shocked everybody, and then having him lose again, like 2 straight WrestleManias. I don't see it. I don't see it happening.
I think if Undertaker were still undefeated going into this match, you could say, okay, if Bray Wyatt loses, it won't hurt him that much. But the fact that Undertaker has a loss at WrestleMania now, and now he's going to go and beat Bray Wyatt, what does that do for Bray Wyatt? It doesn't do anything good for him.
To me, Bray Wyatt, just because like I had this conversation with Brandon once before, and this is WWE. It's a publicly traded company where there's a lot of people who invest money in WWE and they expect to see a certain product on TV. So these white collar corporations that do business with WWE do not want to see a guy like Bray Wyatt do well. Because image-wise, that's not what they paid for.
Or Daniel Bryan.
They don't want to see guys like that. No. They want to see guys who are clean-cut, handsome, dudes who look like The Rock, if not have bodies like John Cena.
Which is gay as hell. But,
you call it that, but let's be real, that is the most physically appealing or visually appealing thing to vanilla audiences.
In a business sense, yes, it is, but
they have neglected us, Kyle. You have to keep that in mind.
That's what I'm trying to say. Is it sucks that WWE has done that to its fans, and it's a shame.
One thing that they are giving us, though, that a lot of fans are really looking forward to is Sting. Even though it's maybe not the best opponent, it's probably the only opponent he can have right now. He's not going to face The Undertaker. He's not going to face...
I think everyone wanted to see Sting Taker before anything else.
It just wasn't possible, I guess, at this time. I mean, Triple H is... I'm liking the storyline that they're trying to build up with, I'm Mr. WWF, WWE versus WCW, I'm going to kill you one more time.
I 100% agree because, of course, Sting Undertaker would be cool, but I don't think you can give Undertaker 2 losses in a row at WrestleMania because I don't think he would be down for losing to anyone but Brock Lesnar, as in The Undertaker. So I think Undertaker is going to get that win over Bray, but I also think that Sting's not going to come in and
get a loss,
take an L.
No.
I think Triple H...
Not in his first match in WWE, no, he's getting a win.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Triple H is here to put him over big time.
Yeah, because Triple H, for me, I think he's been giving it up lately,
He's been putting a lot of people over.
Like, the whole NXT roster.
Yeah.
And then, he's, for me, the only cool thing about the Authority as of late. Because that bit with Sting, I was excited. I don't know about you guys.
That was pretty sick. That was definitely it's going to be...
That's the only thing that has advanced authority-wise. Yeah. Because what happened in the match where, Kane got the win? Where does that leave the rest of the Authority members for WrestleMania? It did nothing.
Yeah.
Because
stupid.
If Dolph Ziggler and them won, which I thought they would have, because it's a small pay-per-view, I could definitely have seen them losing at WrestleMania in a stipulation kind of match. I thought that could have happened. Now, that basically killed Dolph Ziggler and friends off for WrestleMania.
Dolph Ziggler and friends.
So I don't know what's going to happen with those guys. Because I thought they were going to rematch the Authority at WrestleMania. Triple H has distinguished himself for a match with that call-out of Sting.
Yeah. I think the only thing is we're going to see is if Sting can pull off a good match or not. He hasn't had a really good match since 2 years ago in TNA. And even then, I remember that match and Sting was a little bit shaky at times. And the match didn't even last long. It was a quick 8-minute match.
As crazy as this sounds, I feel like Sting being a perfectionist, because I've seen Sting matches back in the day. And I've seen Sting matches even 5 years ago. As old and beat up as he is.
I think he'll be ready for this match.
He's always ready.
And I think Triple H is a good opponent because Triple H isn't going to be a guy like Brock Lesnar that's just going to beat him up. You know what I mean? He's not going to hurt him in a way like he did with the Undertaker, where Undertaker might have not even. It took him probably more than a year to recover. He's probably still not recovered from it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, where would you place this match in the card? Co-main event?
No, not even. Hell no. Because
would it be? Because Undertaker is going to be on this card, obviously, and he's obviously going to be the match. He's going to be that match, and there's going to be a cool-down match, and there's going to be the main event match.
The title match?
Title match.
Yeah.
The thing is, it looks like a co-main event match. I hope it's not, just because I'm not sure if I want to see Stinger go at it for 30 minutes to 40 minutes or something like that.
I think it's going to be the second match.
The co-main.
It's going to be another second match on the card. You're going to have your first opening match.
Maybe the Memorial Battle Royal or something.
Yeah. Okay, thinking about it now, second match on the card, just to get people pumped up.
Yeah.
That could be cool, but as far as... I thought you meant second last match for a sec. I'm trying to think of who you would put in that spot, because...
The Undertaker, I feel like, is going to get the second match.
Well, it's
Undertaker Bray Wyatt looks like it's going to last longer than Triple H Sting.
Where you can decide to put Undertaker Bray Wyatt is because they have to. The reason is because this pay-per-view is outside, and they have to wait till it gets dark enough so they can do both their entrances. Because Bray Wyatt's entrance is obviously all in the black, so you have to wait till nighttime. And usually by then, it's already going to be, late into the pay-per-view. It's already going to be a couple matches deep.
And then they'll give us a 5-minute Divas match, cool-down match, like they did last year with some crap.
And they have to, even just saying that now, and I'm thinking about it, Sting's entrance is pretty dark as well. So maybe they could even have them side. They could probably. I don't know if they're going to. They could either have them side by side, or they'd have like Sting, Triple H, then like a cool down, then Undertaker, then a cool down, then championship match.
It's a lot for debate. See, this is the kind of stuff that I like, the unpredictable stuff. Like, we don't know what the card is how it's gonna kind of roll along, which I like.
Yeah, it's not like so predictable for once. That being said, I want to see somewhat of a framework for it, just because I don't think that 4 weeks is good enough.
I think it's 5 weeks.
Or
5 weeks?
No, yeah. I don't think 5 weeks is good enough.
5 weeks. Yep.
I don't think 5 weeks. I don't think 5 weeks is good enough for the Road to WrestleMania card to not give us that much of a road to WrestleMania. I don't think that's fair.
Besides maybe 2, 3 at most of the feuds going into it, we don't have a good picture of what these feuds are going to look like, and nor do we care right now about some of these feuds.
So we have the Tag Team Championship. You have
Sting, Triple H.
You have Bray, Undertaker. You have John Cena, Rusev, and then you have the Divas in that generic match, like we did mention before. That being said, this looks like it doesn't look like a WrestleMania card. It looks like what Fastlane. It looks like a better version of what Fastlane should be, in my opinion. Plus the Undertaker match, plus Sting.
You take the Sting and the Undertaker match out of it, it looks like a regular pay-per-view.
Yeah. Brock Lesnar and
I'm thinking maybe they're going to be taking the next 5 weeks and we're going to see stipulations.
Actually, thought about it. Here's the thing. Wouldn't be surprised if Brock Lesnar, Roman Reigns was not the main event.
Not the main event.
Wouldn't be surprised.
So what would you put the main event?
That would be crazy. I wouldn't be surprised if they said, Sting, Triple H.
The main event? God.
Or, just because they're nuts.
But we just got to see how, obviously they couldn't really build up Roman Reigns or Brock Lesnar because he had to beat Daniel Bryan tonight still. Mm-hmm. But over these next 5 weeks, I would really like to see what Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns are going to do, how they're going to try and build this thing up to make it relevant, to make us try to watch it.
Who's going to be the face and who's going to be the heel?
The face is definitely Roman Reigns.
Yeah.
They're going to make him be the face, but the crowd is still gonna. He's gonna be like John Cena. He's gonna have the tweener crowd behind him every week.
Brock Lesnar is not a cowardly heel, and he's gonna do stuff to make you want to boo him. As far as
for the next couple of weeks, it's definitely gonna be Paul Heyman coming out and dissing every crowd that they go to.
Exactly,
and get them to.
Plus, he has
Brock
Paul
Lesnar
Heyman
like crazy. Yeah.
So Paul Heyman to me has been the best elicitor of heat I've ever seen.
Best heel manager of all time.
100%. Yeah. And the thing is that if anyone could put Roman Reigns over, it's him. I can't think of anyone else.
No.
So Roman Reigns is going to go in there vanilla as hell, and people are going to come out to the show, give him mixed reactions, if not boo/no reaction. Yeah. But Paul Heyman's going to say some dumb stuff. He's going to make you boo him and Brock Lesnar. And when Roman Reigns does attack or retaliate, somehow they're on the side.
They're gonna want to like him because they're going to be like, anybody please interrupt. And then when he does, it's like, thank God.
This is good and smart because once WrestleMania does come around and the main event does happen and it's going to be the title match, the crowd is going to be so mixed and there's going to be so much hype behind it. It's just going to be like how nuts the crowd went when John Cena was facing The Rock. It was so split down the fucking middle that the crowd was just going ballistic. I kind of see that happening when Lesnar and Reigns go at each other. The crowd's just so split between Reigns and Lesnar because you're gonna have those fans that hate the shit out of Roman Reigns. They're gonna want Lesnar to win. Then you're gonna have the
people who hate Brock Lesnar
and Roman Reigns fans.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you want to call it that. Like the Roman Empire, yes.
Yeah. I just hope that Vince McMahon stops writing Roman Reigns' promos because they're god-awful.
I don't think anyone's writing them. I think,
it's been said that Vince McMahon writes his promos and he gives them to him and he reads them.
See, you know what I want to see one day? Is just for jokes, someone Instagram the notes that Vince McMahon's
Well, you know what you can do? It's actually hilarious. When you go back to the Snowed-In Raw they had a couple weeks ago, and you listen in when they're interviewing Roman Reigns, you can hear faintly the lines being given to him in Roman Reigns' ear, in his earpiece. They're feeding them lines, and he's saying them.
I just want to see a little bit of Roman Reigns' own personality come out. Yeah. Him making up his own stuff, him showing his personality, not just this fake vanilla crap.
I think he can. I think maybe he just can't. It's weird. Maybe
no,
he can't.
Here's the thing. I feel like he has it, like to believe that. And there's times where he is really. There's times where he's he's generally interested in what he's saying, and there's times where he generally believes that, or believes that,
or believe that.
Yeah, exactly. So I want to see him like free a little bit more often, ad lib, because Vince McMahon doesn't trust him. That's okay. It doesn't get much worse than what Vince is telling him to say right now. So how about you have him take pointers from someone?
Yeah,
he is the friggin' blood
of The Rock. Who has no script at all. He just goes and he knows his shit.
So that being said, he has all of the tools that he needs to succeed as somewhat of a mic guy.
I think he has to have a little bit more freedom in the ring as well. I feel like he has a few more things to give in ring that they won't let him do.
No, you're right. And
like going back to his NXT matches, he did a little bit more. He was a little bit more versatile, and now it's just kind of like he's just this big bruiser that has a Superman punch and his kick outside the ring.
Besides Seth Rollins, everyone has become more vanilla coming up from NXT. Like, to be honest, the way I see things, even Daniel Bryan is kind of vanilla. Name 5 Daniel Bryan moves.
Name tons.
Okay, so name some. You have roundhouse kicks in variations. You have
DS lock.
You have
the running knee.
The running knee. You have diving headbutt. You have that drop kick.
The flying goat.
That's it. That's 5 moves. Like that I can think of off the top of my head.
Seth Rollins being able to use the curb stomp. I'm surprised they haven't taken that away from him.
But Seth Rollins, they want him to be the future.
Yeah.
There's something about Seth Rollins, maybe it's his looks or something like that, that they're going to be like, F it, Seth, do whatever you want. Everyone else, I feel like they've stagnated because they don't want them to succeed.
Yep.
And to me, that's unfortunate. Like, I don't even know what to say right now.
Yeah. Going into our last point that we'll make, talking about people that they've kind of screwed over here, kind of going off not on the pay-per-view card, something that happened. CM Punk reportedly being sued by the WWE doctor that he went on Colt Cabana's podcast and basically bashed about him having a staph infection, and this doctor apparently not seeing it or not reporting it. And this doctor is suing CM Punk and Colt Cabana for $1 million for defamation.
Here's the crazy thing, is that there's a part of me that believes that everything that CM Punk said was bull.
That's just the kind of guy CM Punk is, though.
Punk will, and I'm an indie guy. You guys know that. I'm not pro WWE, but I'm not pro telling a better story that isn't the truth. And that's what CM Punk may be. For example, CM Punk was being interviewed by Colt Cabana, and then Chris Jericho was interviewing Ryan Reeves. Ryback. And they were talking about when Colt Cabana was talking to CM Punk about the Ryan Reeves incident, about the table. You guys remember this, right?
Yeah.
And how he goes really hard, Ryan Reeves.
Yeah.
Now, Chris Jericho was talking to Ryan about how you don't appear to be that guy who is that much of a bruiser. Like, you've never come like that across me, because I remember that feud.
I actually remember that match.
Yes.
That table spot happening.
Yeah. But I never thought that Ryan Reeves would go way too hard on anyone. If anything, he's not that hard, in my opinion.
I think he's just a bigger guy, and he's
the big guy.
He's the big guy, and you're just gonna hurt somebody smaller than you. It's just how it's gonna happen.
It's just a fact of life. And he didn't look like he was going way too hard tonight, for example.
No.
Or even back then, I didn't feel like he was. So I feel like Chris Jericho getting the truth out of Ryback, saying that, okay, we squashed it right after that happened, because they did. And then CM Punk goes on to Colt Cabana and says, oh, you're going way too hard and stuff, and he continued to do that.
I think it was CM Punk's personal biasness, like just that he was mad at Ryback for doing whatever, and he kind of just bashed him. I feel like there was some stuff in the CM Punk podcast that was true, but I feel like there could be some stuff that might you kind of have to have the other side of the story kind of thing.
Yeah, and to be honest, a lot of it was, in my opinion, is reaching. CM Punk not only has this song as his walk-on or his theme, Cult of Personality, he has such a cult of personality that he can say anything, and his throngs of fans, his hardcore fans, will pretty much believe anything he has to say. And he feels like he can get away with it, like that's cool. But I'm not sure, maybe I'm being too hard on CM Punk, but I don't think that, again, I really, that Ryback stuff really rubbed me the wrong way. Yeah. It's not because I'm a Ryback supporter.
That may be true, but I think this whole lawsuit had nothing to do with the Ryback situation.
No, but I'm just saying he reaches.
And this also, it has to do with the staph infection, which it's been clearly proven that he has the mark for it, and that the doctor says he never filed it. Which is, in a way, it's CM Punk's fault for not filing it because he's a fucking idiot for not doing that. I don't know why you wouldn't. If you had a staph infection, first thing you do is you tell a WWE doctor, so, I have a staph infection. Like, don't tell him.
Well, yeah, but here's the thing. All I'm saying is that he's reaching. And what I mean by reaching is everything he said was glamorized.
Yeah.
A lot of it. So, for a WWE doctor to come out and say, you know what, hey, I'm going to sue you for defamation.
I wouldn't be shocked if the WWE doctor...
If the WWE doctor did not do all he could to...
Not even that, even being told maybe by upper management to say, hey, maybe you should file a lawsuit against this guy because they have a legit heat with what CM Punk said about their company. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I could see Triple H or Vince McMahon possibly saying something to the doctor, like saying like, hey, maybe you should try getting back at this guy for what he said to us, kind of thing, like kind of a deviant thing to do. But I mean, it's possible that they could try to get back at him, not through them, kind of through somebody else, kind of thing. That
another
I could see that happening. Yeah. And I for this particular thing, I'm on CM Punk's side for this. Mm-hmm. I think the whole doctor thing is just blown out of proportion. I think this doctor's just trying to get free money out of CM Punk because he was angry about what he said.
It's a WWE affiliate doctor, right?
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if this was the WWE trying to do it.
Yep, that's what I'm saying, upper management.
Yeah, so, yeah, exactly. So, I think the doctor, in that case, may be just following orders, as crazy as that sounds. But it's CM Punk. And for me, like, CM Punk stories have always been fishy. So
he can definitely tell a great story, I can tell you that.
Podcast aside, I think it's one of those things where we need to hear both sides of the story and find out what the actual truth is, which we probably won't ever because he's now. He's in UFC.
He's been caught.
Pretty much moved on from WWE.
Yeah, he's been caught reaching in the past, so that's why I can only hear what he says and take it with a grain of salt.
I think this defamation charge is complete garbage, Kyle. I'm sure since you're a
CM
Punk fan, I'm sure that you agree with it.
I laugh at it. I seen it when I read it first. Read it on WrestleZone. I thought it was probably the most bogus thing I've ever read in my entire life. Like, really, they're actually gonna do this now, and they're doing it now. Like, this took a while for them to.
CM Punk is crazy though, that he thinks he can go to the UFC and he'll get any better treatment. Yeah. So many guys are resuing the UFC that have been cut, and you think that you're gonna get anything out of them. Okay, you're gonna get your 6-figure fight because you are a name. But
I don't know if he's really into it for the money. I think it's just something he wants to do. Like
it is something he wants.
It's just on his bucket list, and he's like, he wants to move on for wrestling, and he's like, hey, what do I do with my life now? Hey, might as well go try out in the UFC since I wanted to do it one time.
Okay, so he's gonna beat up on some tomato cans.
Why not?
And I guess he feels like it would be a lighter work schedule than what he's doing with what he did with WWE. The fact that he was doing live events 4 days a week, plus TV, plus pay-per-views.
Plus all that podcast, him getting gypped in pay from those live events.
Yeah, I feel like Dana White probably won't screw over CM Punk because he sees the backlash of what's happened with WWE.
He's the one guy that he won't screw over. But if CM Punk wanted to have a more omniscient view of what is happening around the UFC to some of those athletes, he's gonna realize that he has it so much better. So if you want to be a voice for people who have been oppressed by their management, like he felt like he was in WWE, then why would you go to the UFC? Why do something where there are more people oppressed by management there?
I guess he doesn't know the inside scoop yet.
He definitely does. CM Punk is for sure 100% about him. And you have to be in this world. I don't blame him for that. Just don't be a prophet. Don't say that you are the one going up against authority for everyone. You're doing this for yourself. You know?
CM Punk's always been a for himself kind of guy.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
exactly. For me, I don't think he's really represented anyone else but himself. And that's why, for example, I like Stone Cold Steve Austin so much. Because I felt that everyone related to Stone Cold because he was that guy who he blatantly said that he represented us. You know, he was the guy who said, F you to your boss.
Yeah.
Because it was the right thing to do, not because his own personal greed. And I think that's what CM Punk's kind of about.
And with that, I mean, CM Punk, good luck in UFC. We'll see.
Best of luck. I'm still a hell of a fan.
We'll see what happens when he faces his mystery opponent in the future. But other than that, guys, WrestleMania looks like it's going to be, shaping up to be one hell of a...
No one.
I guess we'll just have to see in the next couple weeks.
It depends on these next 5 weeks if it's going to be a stud or a dud.
And we'll talk about that in the next couple weeks, guys. Other than that, I'd like to thank our special guest host today, Manny David, for joining us on the
Cascade
show.
Soldier on YouTube. Go check him out. He's
Go
MMA.
check him out, guys.
Thanks, guys. I really appreciate the time that you guys have granted me on this episode. If I talk too much, I'm sorry, but
this was great. This was actually pretty good, and I hope to see you on the show.
Maybe in future, yeah.
Other than that, that's my co-host Brandon right here.
See you later.
Shout outs, Brandon.